Hello.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Really means the world to me to get this many people together. So personally, Allison, thank you for helping facilitate all of that. Everybody in the audience, there's a ring light and a microphone by the door and an iPad. So for them to be able to hear you ask a question, you do need to go up there and speak into the microphone so that they can hear you, because there is no mic on the audience. But I guess I would like to start things while the audience is working up its nerve. And it's a question for the group, but obviously I think, Corey, Allison, it starts with you all. Obviously this showcase that we're doing here at Enzian, the Real Representation Showcase, is designed to tell stories by content creators about cultures and situations and parts of their lives that are represented on film often, but not necessarily always represented by people who are respective of those situations. So what I want to talk about in this film and why representation is important and why we chose it and why perhaps you all made it kind of goes to a specific date and time, and that date is April 30th, 1997, and it is the date that Ellen DeGeneres came out on The Ellen Show. And it's also the year that Generation Z is born. And what I think is interesting and why these stories are important is that Generation Z currently represents 1 in 5 individuals who identify as queer. And so putting these stories onto the screen, especially coming of age stories, I think gives people something to identify with that perhaps they were unable to identify with once before. So I'd like to ask you all from the creative team, about telling and creating a queer coming of age tale that is very much part of, I guess the word I'm looking for is not necessarily a non-entity moment or a non-starter moment in someone's life, but a very natural and very lived-in kind of experience and moment.
Well, first of all, thank you all for watching the movie. And I really appreciate everything you just said about it. I mean, natural and lived in were definitely things that were like really top of mind for us while we were making it. The impetus to make the movie was really just coming from a feeling that there was like a story that I really wanted to see in a movie that I hadn't seen before, which was...
I want to make it come out of the computer.
Basically, you're all good.
We love live Zoom, it's the best.
Live, everybody.
Yeah, basically like the story of somebody taking that first small step, but which can still feel really big when you're in that moment, which is, letting someone in on who you are, particularly with a stranger, because I know that it was easier for me at first, when I was first coming out, to tell people that weren't as deeply involved in my own personal life, because it was an easier first step. It felt lower risk. And I thought that would be an interesting sort of small thing to build a whole movie around. And also larger than that, just like the story of a crush not working out. I felt like I had seen a lot of stories where there's a queer main character who has a crush on someone else, and eventually that person returns their affections. But a big part of growing up queer for me was having those interests really frustrated and having these weird endings that didn't have a lot of closure to them, and that left me feeling sort of like lonely, and like I didn't really, I wasn't getting this like happy ending that movies and TV shows were promising me, but I still was growing a lot as a person and learning about who I was and developing courage, and I thought that it would be cool to tell a story like this one about someone who doesn't get the kind of happy ending that they would wish for, but still grows a lot from this experience and is still like nourished by the reaction they get from the person that they have a crush on.
I think you touched on something that's really important, and I know we'll talk a lot about the film as well, but I do think because obviously we're in Florida right now, there's a lot of crap going on in Florida right now, and obviously I think this is a room of people that are obviously empathetic and understanding about what's going on in the state. But I do think that idea of coming out to someone where the stakes are lower because you don't have to necessarily sit at the kitchen table and tell your immediate family what's going on, and have to worry about how permanent relationships could be potentially damaged, is really an impressive way to kind of look at that. I've seen a fair amount of LGBTQ coming of age stories over the years, and to me, the moment in the car at the ending is just, it's brutal, but kind of amazing at the same time. So I guess I'd like to ask Isaac a little bit about when you first got the script and read it, just how were you impacted by the character, and how did you approach the performance?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Well, that was awkward. So, getting the script was pretty special because reading it, me and my wonderful mother both realized very, very, very fast that this is real writing about a very real character, and it just all unfolded in a way that we both of us really anticipated. So seeing such good writing talking about a topic that I had never really seen so strongly written about was both really cool, and I felt honored to be a part of it. So I loved it when I first saw it, always.
Amazing. For the rest of the cast as well, and you all can decide amongst yourselves how you want the order you want to answer it. But I just also would like to be kind of, cognizant of your all, what all you all felt when you read the script for the first time, and as you were shooting the movie, just impactful moments for you. Anyone brave enough can start.
Go ahead, Tosh.
Yeah, Taj, you first.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed it. The question was, how did I think about the script? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, just really how you felt about the script when you first read it, and then as you were shooting it, just any impactful moments for you in the filming.
Okay. Well, when I first got the script and I read it, when I'm reading scripts, I know it's well written. When I can picture all the shots in my head while I'm reading it. And that was just like the whole time I was reading it, it was like that. So props to Corey, beautiful, beautiful writer. And the one scene, the lake scene, like the early morning lake scene.
Yeah.
When I read that in the script, that's what made me want to take on the project mostly, because I just fell in love with it. Even while reading it, I fell in love with it. It was just such a pinnacle moment with no dialogue. Like a scene that has the character saying nothing says so much about their relationship and their character development. And also I could picture the shot, and I knew it was gonna be beautiful. And that also was one of my favorite days and scenes to shoot, because that was the water day. That was when we shot all the water scenes in the lake.
You liked that?
Oh, I loved it. It was my favorite thing. I was so excited to wake up at 5 a.m. And I'm not being sarcastic. I was really excited.
It looked very chilly. I'm just kidding.
To take a dip in the lake. And then later that day, we shot the other lake scenes. And those were very challenging for me because it was really cold. So that was a learning experience. I love challenging myself with acting, and that was definitely a new challenge, to act like I wasn't shivering. And that was a really fun scene to improv with Isaac, improvise with Isaac and swim around, and then the scene with Marion and Emma.
Awesome. Well, let's kick that over to Marion then.
Well, when I read the script, it was like when I read my character, and I was like, that's so like me. And I was really, it was just like, I'm like, this would be a really fun role, and it seems really cool, and like the writing's fantastic. And like you were saying, it was like I could picture the shots very easily and very like it was like I could have the whole imagery of the movie in my head, and it was very. I was like, I want to be a part of that, and it was, it was really cool.
I love that as well.
Did I fully answer the question?
Yeah, no, that was absolutely wonderful. We do have somebody lined up for a question, but I do want to get David's response as well, because obviously, David, you have a really unique character in this film, and you're very cool, and you seem very hip to the understanding, but you also have to be part of this unbelievably pivotal moment in the film at the very end.
Good afternoon. Good morning to the West Coasters. It's interesting that you say that, the pivotal moment, because as a reader, you feel that gravity. That's a testament, as Ty said, to Corey's work. You feel the gravity of it. That's the first thing I do when I look at work or potential work, is you read it, and you become a bibliophile in a way. You understand what the story is, and this is a story about a pivotal moment in a young person's life, and I want to be a part of telling human stories that are in some ways unrepresented, a lot of ways unrepresented, and I'm in love with collaboration. When you're a young actor trying to work, you thank your lucky stars that you have a decent script to work on and to read and to audition for and to put your heart into. And we get in Corey's script and getting to talk with him and meet with him and talk about his journey is not only as an artist and as a filmmaker, but just his personal journey into the work and why this story was necessary to tell. After meeting with him and that first table reading in LA with all these lovely people, it was like, okay, yeah, we know what this is and we're gonna do it. And that was, then we kind of just left it up to the filmmaking guys and just said, oh, I hope they pick it up. I hope it looks good. But yeah, that was my initial reaction. All the fun stuff happened on set.
Yeah. It's a beautiful moment. I think a lot of this movie exists in these very beautiful moments where people don't speak very much. And there's like that moments of awkward silence that happen. So, well, let me toss this one out to the first member of the audience.
Hi, good morning, or good afternoon, I guess it is. My name's Al Whining. This movie impacted me a lot. I'm 72 years old, and this was my story. Isaac, you nailed me. Thank you very much. The only difference was back then in the 60s, I was very skinny. But I went through the same emotional challenges that this character went through. I want to know, how did you develop it, and how did you know me so well?
First of all, I'm really glad that you identified with the main character. I mean, that was the thing that we were talking about the whole time, was just trying to make somebody that you felt like you knew and just felt really, really specific and lived in. And I think a ton of that is a testament to Isaac's performance. Just in terms of like writing that character, yeah, I mean, I was trying to be as specific and detailed as possible, because I felt like there were a lot of movies about this kind of moment in someone's life that were sort of, that had like a gloss to them, or just sort of like this cinematic touch that honestly I felt was more distancing because it was sort of romanticizing it. But I thought that it would be cool to do something that felt just super grounded. And I was just like always trying to think of details from that time in my own life that I could put into the movie that would hopefully just put the audience back in that place in their own memories. Because I just love that feeling so much when watching stuff where it's like, oh my God, I know exactly that type of thing, and I never thought I would see it on screen before. So like I really wanted to like load up the movie with as much of that as possible and be as honest as possible, because like, again, back to the sort of like the way that movies can romanticize certain things. Like I wanted to do something that felt really like loving and affectionate and celebratory, but still was like as honest as possible. Like it's a small step forward, and it's messy, and it's like kind of chaotic, and Jamie's left with like a lot of different feelings at the end. It's not just pure joy or pure misery, and so yeah, just trying to make it as nuanced as possible.
Thank you, you've done a beautiful job.
Thanks.
We have another question coming up.
Hi. Good to see you all again. I have a question. This is not the first time I've seen the movie, as you all know, and I just have two questions. One for the actors. After watching it again, I am amazed at the empathy, the emotion that each of you bring right to the surface, and you don't have to speak it, yet so much of what your acting speaks volumes more than or as much as the words. And I just want to know how you do that so well, because it's, your facial, everything, it's amazing. And for Allison and Corey, I just want to ask, how has the production of creating this movie evolved you as producers, as directors, into a higher creative level? Thank you. From Mom.
Well, the actors start first.
Sorry, Taj, you want to go first?
No, I was about to say, Isaac, take it away.
Okay. Well, I can only speak for myself in saying that I am a person who is really thrives off connection, and being someone who has valued interpersonal relationships and how I come off to other people and how other people come off to me, and hyper-analyzing myself and others, portraying and holding myself in a way that can be understood tenfold by the person that I'm trying to communicate to, whether that's a person or a camera. I end up treating whatever that thing is the same, with the intention that I want them to know all of the things that I'm feeling. And specifically with a character like Jamie, it wasn't very hard for me to see that this character is extraordinarily empathetic, and in some maladaptive ways is a people pleaser, but he also wants nothing but to connect and to love. And Jamie's love radiation clicked with me in a way that no other character really had. So it wasn't so much of a reach to show all the micro expressions that captured exactly probably what Jamie was feeling.
It was brilliant.
Anyone else want to chime in on that, or Allison and Corey, do you want to take the second part?
Mary and David, y'all want to do anything?
Yeah, I thought we were going to hear from other actors.
Yeah, Taj, you're unmiked. Go for it.
Oh, okay.
See what happens when you click the button?
Yeah, okay. This character was very challenging. It was a great lesson for me on how to really dive into the deep, dark places of a person. And Will was so beautifully written that he was a person, he wasn't just, he was a person, he had a life off script. He had an unwritten life, and you could tell that while reading it, or I could tell that while reading it. So all I had to do was really just fill in the gaps and, decide on choices on why he's dealing with pain and taking it out on his brother, and finding all those little insecurities and fears and traumas that he went through that made him develop into the person that he was then. And it was a lot of fun.
I don't mean to cut anyone else off, but I quickly do want to say Taj was very easy to play off of. And he kind of put it on a platter for me. So it wasn't it wasn't as though I was like walking around with a blindfold on. It was not too hard.
Same to you, Isaac.
I would interject as well, and I know Marion wants to say something. I think many of us who were, teenage boys at one point all have wildly misplaced bravado, and the character nails that. nails that. So, Marion.
Besides working with these like wonderful actors that like you could feel like their emotions and it feels like you're just like there. It was like she had like a journey that is similar to like what I've experienced. So using like personal connection to it is and this just script was so easy just to lift off the page because it was so lifelike and wonderful. So yeah, I'm just so glad I was on like here.
We'll give David one chance to chime in, and then we can bounce over to the team.
Everything they said. No. No, I mean, if I can try not to get too drama school with this, it's about the need. We talked about the facial expressions and the empathy and all that stuff. All that stuff are things that you see because the need of the character is so strong. And when one character needs something and another character needs the opposite of that makes for great conflict. That makes for great comedy. That makes for great storytelling. And that need, no one's trying to cry. You cry because you're frustrated, or you're happy, or you're upset, or you're mourning. These things are moment-to-moment occurrences, and the goal is to be in a place where you can breathe honestly and that you can truthfully convey what's needed in this moment of the story. And when you walk on set and Isaac's doing his thing, you just let go. That's the kind of the contradiction of acting work. You do all this work beforehand to show up and let it all go and just listen to what Isaac is saying, or Jamie in that case. And everything you see is not pre-planned. Every twitch of the muscle, every nostril flare, every breath taken in, every eye blink, every morsel of compassion or empathy that you're seeing or feeling from Dan in the moment, for example, is Dan needing something in that moment when he's talking to Jamie. I think about the scene after he pretends to get drunk and Dan's using the bathroom in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
That scene, like, oh man, you're going to talk to you like that, man. That's not cool. So that compassion is, I went through that. I got 2 older brothers. They were vicious, man. I know that. So in that moment, it's like, hey, I wish I had somebody to tell me. And counter to that, Jamie's like, I'm trying to navigate this. I'm trying to figure this out. And brilliantly, he has a crush on me, which makes for great drama. So a great story. So that was a lot, but it's
great.
It's all the things that we try not to worry about looking in the mirror before we go to set.
Yeah.
I love hearing all that from our actors so much, hearing what you're thinking about and what we were able to see, how that came through, because I'm amazed. I continue to be amazed by your all's performance. And I just wanted to say thank you so much with my whole heart to my friends and family and former teachers and that came out to the screening today, and a special thanks to Tim as well, who brought this together and who has been a supporter of mine as a filmmaker since I was in high school. And to have this film here at the Enzian today is just so full circle and emotional and makes me want to like cry happy tears. So I just wanted to say all that because the Enzian has been such a home for me and such a source of inspiration and everyone in the room and that's made the Enzian possible, to me is a part of making this possible today because of the support and love that I've always gotten from everybody there. So I just hope you all feel the love. And as far as evolution, I know I've grown so much, even more than I could have imagined on this. I learned so much about collaboration with Corey, with the actors, with everybody. It takes over 100 people to bring this film to life. So just realizing how much of a real community process it is, that has grown on me even more. And just to realize, there's so much that it takes to make a film happen, but it's also shown me what is really the priority, which is, it really comes down to performance and emotion and your audience tracking where your characters are at, and if we're able to, as a team, keep that as the center point and as the focus, then the other things can fall away and the beautiful story can come through. And I think that was a really big takeaway for me.
Anything extra to add on that, Corey? And then we have 2 questions left in the audience, and we are running a little tight on time.
I think it was a cool experience also in seeing what I think that I before making this movie had thought more about directing as this thing of oh no, I know exactly what this scene needs to be, and I need to make sure that everybody falls in line with that, and trying to find a balance between the things that I'm really passionate about and I really want to commit to, but then also just staying open to things that are happening in the moment, in rehearsal, on set. So often the actors would have better ideas for a moment or a line or a piece of improv, and I would be so grateful that they had come up with that, because I'm just watching the thing get so much better before my eyes. And there were a lot of things in editing where I was I know down to the frame exactly how we're going to cut this scene, and then we would cut the scene that way, and I'd be nope, that's not it. And being flexible and the excitement of reworking stuff and being oh, it actually all along it wanted to be this way, and then the satisfaction of getting there. So yeah, not being excited and passionate about things, but also understanding that just because you have an idea in one phase doesn't mean it's going to work in another phase. I can't tell you how many, there were a lot of lines in the movie that I was this is really funny, this is playing when it's read, when you're just reading a script, but then just watching it in the context of a scene, I was oh no, it's distracting now. So it's being open to just what's working and what's not.
Yeah.
I have to add something about that, because that really important to me. This project was always set up to be a co-creation of the character, and to see it just go from Corey's idea to our idea, and to go from having it be okay, this is what you're gonna do in the scene, to okay, wait, does this make sense, or is this gonna work? It was the slowest hug ever. So I really like that you mentioned that, because it came together at the end. That's all I wanted to say.
I love that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So yeah, we have 2 people left in line, I think, for questions, and we are running a little tight on time. So next person up.
Well, my name's Donald. I knew Allison in high school.
Hi, Dawn. Great to see you.
You too. Thank you. Congratulations to all of you on the movie.
Thank you.
So I'd like to know a little bit about your production company. Perfect Dog Pictures, was it? Can you tell how it all began?
That truly, we made Perfect Dog Pictures for the production of this movie. And it really began when I started working with Allison. That was the beginning of any team on this, because I wrote the movie for 5 or 6 months, and then I took it to Allison and we started working together. But yeah, how would you say it developed from there?
Well, putting the LLC together, which the production company is, that was one of our first steps. So, there's all the creative side that you all see come together on screen, and then there's the entire business operations that we're managing to make it all roll. So, that that was an important part of it as well. And the inspiration for the logo is Corey's dog.
I have a greyhound, a beautiful greyhound named Rudy.
Can't forget about Rooney.
So Rooney made it to the big screen too.
Yeah.
Well, Corey, how did you approach Allison with the script? Have you worked together before, or?
No, it was really insanely lucky. We went to school together, but never knew each other there. Allison was only 1 year ahead of me, and it was through a mutual friend of ours. I was looking for a producer, and then our friend Erica also knew that Allison was looking to produce something. And then we came together, and it was just like a very instant feeling of like, oh, this person really understands the movie. Like, first and foremost, like this person understands exactly the kind of movie we're trying to make and is like excited by those types of movies. Like we talked about like Celine Sciamma a lot, and we talked about like Stranger by the Lake. We talked about like a bunch of different movies that were just really exciting because I was like, oh, like this, like Allison can be like a creative partner to me in this, in addition to being a producing partner, and has continued to be to this day. So it was very much, I could breathe a huge sigh of relief.
We could tell right off the bat we were speaking the same language about it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we could definitely get on the same page.
And Allison's really relaxed, and I don't always feel that way. And so I knew her disposition was going to be perfect, a perfect counterbalance.
Okay, well, I think we are ready for the next question.
Well, just one more thing.
Oh, one more? Yeah.
Do you have an idea of when this might be officially released in theaters or on DVD?
Well, we're working on getting our distribution at the moment. We're still running through the film festivals right now, but I'll let everybody know as soon as we know. Hopefully, you know, in the not too distant future, it'll be online. Yeah.
Best of luck to you all.
Thanks, Tom.
Welcome.
Okay, I have one last question.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say, well done, you. I'm so proud of you. For those of you who don't know, I was Allison's chemistry teacher. And I want to say there's no chemistry more important than chemistry in relationships. So keep telling stories, keep telling everyone's stories. Everyone's stories deserve to be told, and I'm so proud of you.
Well, thank you all so much, the audience, for coming out. Oh, do we have one more? You want to pop in? Sure.
I'm another one of Allison's teachers. So I just wanted to say hi to.
Oh, it's Mary.
And then
I can't hear you.
I really can't think of Taboo without thinking of you. I already have that
I don't think-
association.
we can-
Yeah. Since we used to play a bunch in school, and then she bought me. I said,
Tim, can you help us?
Pete.
You say what you want to say. We all very much want to hear what you have to say.
I always had an association with Taboo with Allison. Yes, we used to play it lots in school, and then she bought me a set. So when I saw the Taboo, I was like, yes, good times. All right. Thank you.
Well, I want to start with by thanking the audience for coming out to these kind of stories on the big screen. It's really more important now than ever before, and it means the world to us as well. For the team, Allison, Corey, Taj, Isaac, and David, thank you so much for taking time this morning to come and represent the film here at Enzian. Allison, welcome home. I don't know how else to say. It made me cry like 4 times just during the Q&A. So, thank you all so much. Thank you as well. And let's have an incredible run with the movie. I can try to swing this around so you can see the audience for a second, but we've lost some during the Q&A. But.
Hello, Allison.
I can't see the screen. So. Okay.
Love you all. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you all, everybody. Take care. Have a great time with the movie release. Keep us in the loop on what's going on with it, and we'll post on our socials when it gets distro.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day.
Bye.